Hi guys. Hey. Good evening, guys. Thank you for joining. Welcome to another edition of my best losses. Hi, Neil. Hi 2511. Hey Fiona. Thank you for subscribing for tier one sub. Thank you. It's very good to see you at this channel. I know it's very late for you, so good night and thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you guys. Hey, welcome, Chesnoob KZ. It's good to see you here. This is a new edition of my best losses Monday. So tonight I'm gonna show you two relatively recent games that I played against two very strong grandmasters. And thank you Simiak2 for the follow. And the first game is the game I played against Hikaru. It was one of his sub Sundays, and I'm also going to show a game that I played only, I think, yesterday against Danya. Hey, Luigi1597, thank you for the cheer. That's very greatly appreciated. And let me get some music going so we can start. This is actually the selection of greatest rock hits, which is a pretty good and I hope you guys will enjoy it. And obviously, if you have any song requests, please submit them. All right. Anyway, I hope in the United States this is today's Memorial Day, so this was a 3-day weekend, so Monday is a day off, so everybody is now getting ready for work tomorrow. And just the weather here in New York is very nice, so I wanted to show a little, it was just chilling type of thing. And yeah, hey Dirk, thank you for joining this stream. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. So, all right, so this is a game I played with Hikaru, a couple of months ago, and yes, thank you 2511 for a million day, and hey, totally juvenile. True, every day seems like a day off lately. And I think this music might be a little loud, so I'm gonna just lower it a tad. If I'm wrong, let me know. If you want me to adjust, let me know. Anyway, so just wanted to first welcome you two, and here is the game against Hikaru. So basically Hikaru is a Caro-Kann player, and against Caro-Kann I play Tal variation as general, and especially there is a particular bishop. Oh, Dirk, you will see the next game. That's actually scary. I'll show it to you guys. So yes, totally juvenile. I needed the day off as well. So so I play Tal's variation, and E5 is what's called Caro-Kann Advanced. Hey, Smash Time Fools, welcome to the. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see you here. So E5, Bishop F5 is a standard move, and H4 is basically the starting move of the Tal variation. Now, and I'm actually gonna stop with the accuracy and start turning the engine in. So, the question here is, what is the best move here for black? Obviously, and I'm actually very surprised how many times, especially in the bullet games, I've caught people who just play E6 here, and then they basically lose because after G4 the bishop is trapped. Obviously there is H5 and F3, and bishop has nowhere to go. So that's a latent threat in this position. And you will and as you will see in this game, playing e6 is a latent threat in black's position. So, for example, if black plays bishop g6, which is actually one option. Oh, thank you, Dirkie, for gifting a sub to Smash Time Fools. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, Dirkie. Thank you for your support, as always, my friend. So, there is always a threat of e6, and my rule for Caro-Kann is that whenever white can play e6, which is this, it should play. Hey, Casper, all right, Casper requested a song. Let's play it. Hold on. So, Casper, I'm gonna cue it up, and we're gonna play it as soon as this Pink Floyd song is finished. So just bear with me for a second. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Smash Time Fools, for the 250 bits. That's very greatly appreciated. Oh, and now we have a hype train. Thank you, guys. That's hype trains is always a good thing. Anyway, so we're gonna play the specials. A message to you, Rudy, as soon as Pink Floyds are done. Anyway, so to go back to the game, there are two basic options here after h4 for black. Option number one is to play h5, which is a standard move, and option number two is to play. Hey, Totally Juvenile, thank you for the 100 bits. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you, my friend. So option number two is to basically play h6. And h6 opens the file on the b7, but there are some plans here to play knight e2, knight f4, and bishop on h7 is kind of subject. It doesn't really contest white's advance to the king side, which is a standard. Oh yes, Dirkie, cat trains. I'm actually going to talk to Maria. Maybe we should have a butt spot in this channel as well. I think it would be fun. Anyway, so, obviously Hikaru being Hikaru plays the best variation, which is h5. And here, this is basically the standard position of Tal variation. And I have a move that I have played very successfully against quite a few players. I have played it against Anamaya. I've won our first game in a miniature playing this move. And when one plays Hikaru, who is with full justification, probably one of the strongest players on Twitch, if not the strongest, I have nothing to lose, so I decided, all right, let's play bishop g5. Now, computer doesn't like bishop g5, but bishop g5 is an annoying move because it... Hey, Hedgehog 1963, thank you for joining us. Welcome to joining the stream. So, because the normal plan for a black here is to play e6. If for example, white plays knight f3, which is the standard variation. One of the best moves, the very best move for black is to play e6, and then, bishop e7, and so on and so forth, develop pieces, apply pressure on the d4 pawn, and so on and so forth. If white plays bishop if the white plays bishop g5, that plan is disrupted. So yeah, I still like Cat Stoician, I have to say, more than anything else. Thank you, and hi, thanks, Hedgehog. All right, so before I proceed with the analysis, let me, this is Dire Straits, but let's listen to the specials that was requested by Casper Witt. Oh, and we have another song request from Leum King, so I'm gonna cue that up. Oh, it's Bon Jovi. Okay, very good. So we're going to listen to that after the specials. So bishop g5 is basically an invitation for black. It's basically an implied rook sacrifice. And I'm going to show you very briefly what is the critical variation here. Just so you're familiar, critical variation here is for, black to play queen b6 and after bishop d3, and the critical variation is takes and takes, and then, black takes on b2, and then white pushes e6, which is a very dangerous move, and then, black has to answer the question, what is it going to do with the pawn of f7? One option is to play f6, another more common is to take, and then after it's taken, the best move is, hey Luigi 1587, thank you for the cheer, or and then what usually happens is the black take on some level. This is actually bishop fe6 is not a good move, so I'm not gonna play it. Better move is to just after e6 to take on a1, and then white plays queen b3 and there's some nasty threats and a very strong attack, and I've won quite a few games in this variation. So what what Hikaru did was he didn't play this. He basically avoided all these complications. And yes, he did, hold on, let me go back. So h4, h5, bishop g5, queen b6. And after I played bishop d3, he exchanged, but played e6. So this basically eliminates all the difficult variations here. And in other words, turn this into a more or less standard Caro-Kann. Now, I'm reasonably familiar with this position, and I've played this many times. This is not a critical position, but obviously Hikaru, being a super grandmaster and one of the very, very best players in the world, is making a very reasonable assumption that he should be able to outplay me in the standard positional game. So, all right, so now we're listening to Lamb King 123 songs. It's Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer, which is, and then we're gonna go back to the rock stuff. Okay, so computer doesn't like it, but computer is wrong, and I have seen this being played many times. And knight d2 is, a standard move. It's actually the best move. You prepare a c4, and also now white basically is withdrawing the offer of sacrificing the rook. And Chess Noob has requested a song, so I'm gonna cue that up as well. All right, so. Alright, so that's Black Keys, Little Black Submarine. Okay, thank you, Chess Noob. Thank you, Chess Noob. That's good to see you. Yes, computer thinks that I'm wrong, and in this particular position, computer will always think that I'm wrong, or better yet, not that I'm wrong, but the Hikaru is wrong. So I'm perfectly fine. So, but knight e2 is the best move. That's a theoretical move. Hikaru plays queen a6, basically offering to transpose this into an endgame, and I basically played the best move. I'm familiar, this is theoretical position. I play c4, and white takes this pawn into a pin, but at the same time, it's threatening to take on d5 and play all sorts of interesting stuff. And if you look at the main computer line, it goes something like this, and and actually I played a similar position here, and I think I even showed it on stream against Anna Maya fairly recently. So this is this is black declining white's offer of a rook sacrifice. All right, so I play c4, and knight e7 is, according to the computer, not the best move. I play knight e2, which is fine, because here in Caro-Kann is the opening when you kind of white wants to develop knights forward. So playing knight c4 and knight f4 is actually it's highly desirable and highly preferable. And knight d7, castle, all of those are standard moves. Computer doesn't think that taking on c4 is the best move, but after knight c4, knight d5, we get to what's basically a critical position in this game. Now, mind you guys, I'm playing Hikaru. Hikaru is basically adopts everybody, he can and plays on Twitch, and I'm playing him one-on-one. He wasn't blindfolded, this wasn't a simul, this was one-on-one sub-game, and I'm not saying we're getting 100% Hikaru when he plays this, but there were no odds involved. And yeah, you're right, he might be towing it. Hey, Regant001, thank you for joining us. So this is a key position, and I am, white is better here, okay? White is better because it has more space, it's well advanced in development, and, it's a nice position. And, it's... Alright, so thank you, that was Bon Jovi. Now we're going to listen to Black Keys, which is Chess Noob's request. Okay, Totally Juvenile, thank you for the request. We're going to cue that up as well. So am I to conclude, guys, that you actually don't like to listen to my music, which is why we're getting all these song requests? I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love Black Keys, incidentally. So, anyway, so this is the crucial position on the game, because I have, white has a clear advantage. Now, that advantage is... And, I don't necessarily trust Stockfish at low levels here in this position, but this is a position in which, you have some clear plans. For example, clear plan for white, and I've learned how to draw arrows, yay, is to play knight g3, knight e4, and then jump on d6, which is a very strong position for the knight. Black doesn't really have any, so that's one option, that's the main computer line here. There is also option to shore up the knight by playing b3, and also you can play something like rook fc1, and then, play on the c file. Hey, Amadeus Burrito! It's good to see you. Yeah, Totally Juvenile, I know that, I appreciate that, thank you, I was just kidding. Anyway. Actually, I should probably add some other options for the coin use. So I'm working on it. So thank you for that. Anyway, so I'm here, but my problem here. I'm not actually familiar with Royal Blood. Maybe we should listen to this after this finishes. Thanks. I'm looking forward to it. So the question here is, I'm white, I'm playing, and at the time I was 1949, and I'm a 1900 player, or, right now I'm 1985, I'm close to 2000, let's say I'm 2000, and Hikaru is 3300. So how does, what is the, hey Ulon, thank you for the song request, I'll put it in a queue. Thank you, Ulon. So the question here is, what is the best, what gives, ooh, that's interesting. Thank you, Ulon. And Carpathian, thank you for the follow, that's very greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for today. So here is the thing, what is the best practical chance for me to, you know, I don't want to say win a game against Hikaru, but to, you know, it's pretty safe to assume that Hikaru is going to outplay him in a positional game. And that was my thinking at the time. Hey, oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna add that option, but I'm gonna make it 25k coins. So yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And 5% interest in XSAV cracking. Okay. Hey, John Davis, thank you for joining us. Yeah, that does bring some painful memories for both of us. All right, so that was this song. That was Black Keys. Next is Foreigner from Jukebox Hero. So that was requested by Totally Juvenile, and this looks like it's it's a 1981. I'm actually not familiar with this, so cool. Anyway, so, and here is bluntly a stupid move that I made for the simple reason that I decided to try to mix it up. Hey Shaimi, I know I have a welcome, thank you for joining us. Hey Bunkinator, thank you for coming to the stream, and that's good to know. Foreigner Records is an amazing album. All right, thank you. And John, yes, I had. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I actually had shown a game in a stream which I was playing with Kio and Plotkin and did the exact same thing. I am actually not playing on stream tonight. One thing that I'm probably going to have a regular stream in which I'm going to play the subs. And I think that's going to start sometime later this week. I'm announcing. I'm going to announce that very shortly. We will... I currently have 2 streams. This is my best losses. That's Mondays at 8. And I also have Nicola Vs. Chess with Anna Rudolph. That's on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. But I also have scheduled for... it's an early stream. It's noon Central European time. It's a sub battle with Lila Koridze on Thursday. I'll send an announcement for that on Discord. She just confirmed. Anyway, so here I decide, and it's a stupid move, but my option here is knight d6, and it's a blunder. And b3 would have kept the solid position and so on and so forth, but I'm playing Hikaru, and I'm kind of decided, all right, let me see if I can, make it as messy as possible. Unfortunately, knight d6 is a really bad move because it virtually forces white to exchange queens, and really the pawn on d6 is, let me put it this way, has a proverbial snowflake's chance in hell of surviving. So in retrospect, give me this position today, and I'm not playing knight d6. But at the time I thought, okay, let me give myself my best practical chance. I think on the back of my head I wanted to get out of the pin and so on and so forth. I never got anywhere close to having an advantage of plus 1.70 against Hikaru in a game at whatever move it is, 13. But anyway, but the game is still going, and technically this is not hopeless. It is far from hopeless for white. White does have compensation for this pawn. This bishop is reasonably strong. These pawns are not exactly the best pawns in history of universe. Either of this rook comes here can threaten this pawn. So it's I don't want to say a drawn position, but it's a fighting position for white. Now, in other words, I basically transposed from a position that was clearly better for white into a position that's messy but or messier, but it's equal or not so good for white. Anyway, so f6, which computer claims is an accuracy, bishop g3 is perfectly fine move, bishop d2 with an idea of playing bishop a5 and bringing the pawn to bringing the bishop to c7 was probably better. Yes, hey Danny, how are you doing, my friend? Yes, I just came back from a robbery, and I'm gonna add for my next stream taking off the beanie for 25,000 points, and I'm probably gonna, you know what? I'm actually gonna start what I can do, and I'm gonna do that next time. Next time we're having a stream, I'm gonna bring a collection of hats that you know you can have me wear. I have a large collection of hats, so I'll for some of points you will be able to choose which hat I wear. Yes, so there will be, if you want, my best hats elements to the stream. So foreigner, I'm actually gonna keep this in here because I'm gonna use. And thank you, Professor Daddy, for the follow. So next is Pal Flat I Wish I Was by Mickey Newberry. That was requested. Ooh, I actually think I heard this before. Anyway. Yes, Professor Daddy, yes, and QD4 is actually the most critical there. Then, white plays, knight f3 and so on and so forth. And what Professor Daddy is basically referring to, and I'm just gonna go back here, he's basically saying, and let me go back real quick. Then if white play queen b6, bishop d3, that the most critical variation is actually this one. Hey Daniel Dimovsky, good to see you. And then and incidentally, I played a game against Hammer and I kind of lost my way, and then the critical variation goes something like this, and then you have an option of either taking on f5, which is actually not the best move, or playing some sort of a variation in which you castle and then you still plan on attack. Anyway, that is the critical variation. Going back to the game, we are here. Bishop e3 is a decent move, and if the position is equal, I fought here. I'm very good. Knight b6 is the best move. So knight f4 is a little bit forcing of the position, because realistically, this knight will never get to g6 or here, because I, in retrospect, should have kept the knight and tried to, try to protect the d6 pawn, and with some counterplay. Anyway, so after takes and takes, and the pawn is temporarily defended. Now black is here clearly better after king d7, which is actually inaccuracy. And here is one thing that I'm just gonna say. Yes, exactly. As Professor Daddy pointed out, as totally juvenile, the knight is actually doing pretty well on e2, and in this position, what white should have done, was to, basically, to basically start, getting the rooks in play. Computer likes knight g3, but I always felt and still feel that getting rooks here and maybe doubling them on the c file and hitting this pawn was probably the best. And you can see that as stockfish depth increases, that's actually what's gonna end up being a very good move. And here is one of the reasons why I am showing you this game. And that's going to be especially appropriate in the next game I'm going to show. I'll be very frank with you guys. I'm actually very frustrated with engines. I am, there is nothing worse than when you're doing an analysis, and you will see that in our next game, and the evaluation literally yo-yos back and forth. I've also discovered that I started using Lila offline and Stockfish in combination, and it's very clear, and I'm gonna mute this, and we're gonna go back. We're gonna now play some Dire Straits. Hey, Nolo Moses, puno pozdrava I hvala. Hello, it's good to see you on the stream. Yeah, and yes, Professor Daddy, that's exactly right. Before 94, it's objectively equal. White has to be more careful because it's easier for white to mess this up. Hey, Borovnica 035, thank you. No, there is a music, we just had a small pause. Anyway, so this is, hello Nola Moses, thank you for the follow, that's very greatly appreciated. So after knight f4, which is a clear error, and exchange, you know what, I guess Hikaru can make an inaccuracy. King d7, according to Stockfish, is an accuracy, and I actually looked at it, this is an accuracy. Knight d5 would have, forced white to make a different choice where to put the bishop, and the best move is actually bishop d2, which is not easy to see. And yeah, as Danny is saying, Hikaru and accuracies don't go together, but there you go, so anyway, rook c1 is a perfectly fine move. This is a game from about a month and a half ago. Yes, that's a recent game versus Hikaru, and it was played these sub Sundays, and anyway, so and I have Daniel, thank you for the song request. Very frankly, where to put the bishop is a little bit of a problem, and playing bishop d2, although objectively is the best, it's not really a human move to make, if you guys know what I mean. It basically abandons this pawn, and I really didn't seem logical to me at the time to basically just forgo the pawn like this. Anyway, ooh, Led Zeppelin, nice. Thank you, Daniel. Anyway, so so I didn't play this. The position is already slightly, or maybe significantly better for black. And queen, rook b8 is the best. Either rook on b file is obviously strong, that it threatens rook b2. b3 is the best move, obvious move. a5 is a reasonable, actually it is an accuracy. Rook b4 is there, but it's not, doesn't matter. Rook c5 is a really good move because it threatens the pawn on a5. Bishop rook b5. Obviously, white cannot allow pawn on a5 to fall. And looking at this position, black is better, but white is not without counterplay. Hey, Chicken Morales, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. That's very nice of you. Honestly, on move 23 or whatever move this is, for me to have this position against Hikaru, that's actually, it's not that bad. And rook c8, in other words, Hikaru at this point is probably just playing safe moves and waiting for me to make an error, which I make. And the error here really is, and this, I think I spoke about this on this stream, I have a bias towards simplification. not necessarily in a very difficult, in a very sharp positions, but I have a bias towards simplifications in positions with slight to medium tension. And it demonstrates itself here. I mean, this position is playable. The position that's basically gonna happen in right now is clearly lost for white. You know, good question, Totally Juvenile. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's 0:45 seconds. It's, you know, I'm not at my best, but you know, I'm gonna say this. You know, when I made this jump on knight on d6, I lost any opportunity to play for a win. Okay? And when I played, and just bear with me, so I'm gonna play the song that that was requested. Hold on, this is, just let me pause this. And now we're listening to Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. It's a 2007 remaster. You know, so so knight d6, that was a moment when white lost the opportunity to play for a win. However, the true losing move in this position is this needless exchange of rooks. And I'm not upset with my play here. I actually play quite well. It's a very good game. But, you know, there was no reason to simplify this position to black's advantage. You know, this is now basically equal, maybe slight advantage to black because this pawn is threatened. But, you know, this was a playable position. You know, white rooks are very strong. White the best move is basically the first, actually, 4 best moves according to the engine are moves for white to strengthen its position. I could have played f3, and, you know, f3 is a nice move. And, you know, it's still plenty of play here. Instead, I played this silly rook b5 simplification, and I ended up in a position. Well, objectively, it doesn't. Objectively, it benefits Hikaru more than it benefits me, and the valuation went from being minus 0.20 to minus 3.5. In other words, you know, this particular exchange lost the game. I simply misjudged this position. I was under the impression that here I would be able to hold, that it would be fairly difficult for white to capture this d6 pawn. And, you know, bishop is supposed to be stronger than knights. Black, in this position, black also has a pawn majority on the queen side, but these 2 pawns are doubled. So I was, you know, hoping to get... okay, we got a request from Borovnitsa, so we're gonna add that to the queue. So I basically all right, so this was Immigrant Song. Now we're gonna play My Funny Valentine, but Vlajko Lalic. Okay, cool. Thank you, Borovnitsa. So my weakness here is that, surprisingly enough, although, you know, it's not immediately obvious, I cannot really protect this pawn, d6 pawn, and that knight, surprisingly, is stronger than the bishop. And the simple reason for that is that this bishop is on a very passive field, tied up to defending these 2 pawns. And by the time white activated the bishop, kind of is too late, and that's basically what happened. What happened in this endgame? I was very quickly lost very quickly. King f1 is the best move. I was supposed to play f3, and Hikaru makes here an error. He was supposed to play knight c2 and grab the pawn on d4, but it really doesn't matter. This position is basically lost for white, and obviously after knight b2, this pawn is a goner. And after here, black has, for intent and purposes, 1.5 pass pawn on the a file, and it's a win for black. In other words, yes, and although this is a position in which there are pawns on both sides of the board, knight turned out to be better in this position. Yeah, Danny, I don't think so, but I think Hikaru has enough talent not to study games to be able to play. I'm just kidding, But very frankly, and this is one thing that I strongly feel, I kind of feel that end games are one of the advantages, one of the strengths of my game. So I have that bias for simplification, and I have a bias for transitioning into endgame. And very frankly, hey Joe, my friend, good to see you. Let's give a quick shout out to my dear friend Joe Bruin, the legendary Turtle Commander and a fellow streamer. Thank you for joining us. And he also streams Rocket League and occasionally Fortnite in addition to chess. Yeah, and for 14 seconds obviously didn't help, but hey, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Usedik. Thank you for joining the stream. And Dr. Usedik is a VIP in Venezuela, so I think we want him to come here more often. So the best way to do it is to make him, to make him a VIP here. So there you go. You need to now wear the blue bracelet, Dr. Usedik. Anyway, Dr. O, it's always good to see you. So here I am in an endgame against Hikaru, in which I'm basically hopelessly lost. This bishop is very passive. This knight is very strong. These two pawns are hopeless. And this was basically, for all intents and purposes, a loss. f3 should have been played earlier. I honestly don't care whether king b3 is better. That was a move that was probably, I'm trying to activate the bishop, but after knight b6 and here, and this is even an inaccuracy, this pawn falls, at which point I am, this game is basically lost, and after a couple of more moves, I basically resign. This is basically completely hopeless for white. So as Machakos, there you go. Here I am in an endgame versus Hikaru, surviving until move 38. But it sounds badass, but what is annoying, and I'm gonna go back to the critical positions. Just bear with me while I'm moving. If I'm playing Hikaru, this is the critical position in which I am, it's move 13, I am plus 170 against Hikaru, I am better out of the opening. On top of it, I have a very clear plan, and clear plan here is to play, as I said, here, and then threaten to jump with a knight here. That's actually the main computer line. The counter c5 is really not that important, because this position, the knight in here, will be very dominant. Hey, Static Official, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How often am I going to have a position like this against Hikaru after 13 moves? I showed in a stream the other day the game I lost against Hikaru in 14 moves. So I didn't take advantage of that position, and I'm kind of regretting that still now. Anyway, so Šarić from Croatia drew Hikaru and won Magnus not long. Šarić is a very strong grandmaster. I will never be as strong as Šarić is, but anyway. So that was one key position in which I made a blunder into concluding that my best option here is to complicate the position, and there was probably in the back of my head, I really want to get out of this pin, which really, it's not that much of a threat because white always have b3, and I would love to invite Šarić as a guest on the stream. It would be great to have him here. Actually, when the PCL revives, that actually may be feasible. Oh, Tinker, you are from Dalmatia. That's very nice to hear. So, thank you. So that's one key position, and the other key position is, and this is why I'm actually showing you this. This position is holdable by white. I'm pretty sure that white should not lose this position, or at least shouldn't lose with any difficulties. Yet, my often mentioned bias for simplification came into play, and I decided that I'm going to exchange the rooks. And you see the advantage was for black was the evaluation was minus 0.26, which basically means practically equal. And it's immediately obvious why it's practically equal. These pawns are not doing anything. This pawn is weak. And yeah, these two pawns are not exactly the greatest pawns in the universe for white. But, I think the weaknesses of the pawns are compensated by the fact that white actually has two doubled rooks on the open files. And it's, So this was another critical position, and basically I lost the game when I played this. Having said all of that, it was a great performance against one of the strongest grandmasters of today. I think I played reasonably well. I'm not necessarily unhappy with my play. I'm also partially proud that Hikaru didn't really go into the critical variation of that bishop g5 move, and I'm going to show that, of this continuation, but decided to basically play, what computer doesn't like, which is queen a6. So that's another thing, but if I were to play this game again, I wouldn't have jumped the knight on d6, and I certainly wouldn't have exchanged the rooks on b5. Anyway, so so this is basically the game, and I'm sorry, I got excited. So, so this like Lalic is still going on. Let him run, and yes, live and learn, and and if he actually, he didn't want to risk. Frankly, let's be honest. Playing subs on a Sunday for Hikaru or any strong grandmaster is an economy of force. He didn't really want to risk me to catch him in some prep that he may not be aware of, and it's always possible. And then he would have to explain why he lost the game and so on and so forth. But anyway, so. This is actually my best game against Hikaru outside of one game that he played with Hand and Brain with Daryl Morey. So I don't necessarily mind that effort. It was a good game. Yeah, I wish, but no, that didn't happen. Smashed I fools, and that's fine. But I'm very comfortable with these positions. They're very sharp and very aggressive, and I actually like this game, which is why I wanted to share this with you guys. An interesting thing is that same tendencies though that I lose many games usually made me lose this game, the simplification bias and so on and so forth. So, alright, so that's game number 1 for tonight. Game number 2 is a game that's very frankly, and please take a look at these accuracies, that I'm very frustrated about, to be blunt. I played this and it was a simul, and I think John Davis was with me in the same simul, and Danny, I think, played a simul on 8 boards, and it was last night, yes, John. And I think he killed us all, basically. I think the only draw one of the participants in that particular simul was the international master John Bartholomew. And, John Bartholomew is, obviously a very strong international master, for intents and purposes, practically a grandmaster. And, but I don't think anybody here won. And let me put it this way. This is why I'm showing you this game, and I'm going to come back to these accuracy numbers. Honestly, if I played every game with 95.9% accuracy, I'm gonna be very happy. But if Danius is 99.3, darn, anyway. But I'm very frustrated with this, And for the record, the maximum accuracy on here is 99.6. I know that for a fact because I played some 7-move games in which I basically played theory, and the opponent committed massive errors, and that was 99.6. Anyway, to cut a long story short, it's yes, it depends on the opening, and this is why I'm showing you the game. So it's d4, knight f6, c4, g6, King's Indian defense that I'm very familiar with. And I like playing, and I play on quite a few different games on a different level. I really enjoy playing. Here is a problem, and I'm here admitting my own weaknesses, but because I'm hoping by the time this becomes public knowledge, it won't be a weakness anymore. And the one thing that's worth pointing out, this is 10 plus 5. It's a 8-board simul with 10 plus 5 time control. So it's a very comfortable time control for me. Hey, Sarfilson, thank you for the follow. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you. So, I am... I actually don't mind necessarily the 4 pawns attack. And let me just flip the music. Hold on. You know what? This is actually a very nice Bosnian song from Haris Djinovic. So I'm going to actually let this run, if you guys don't mind. Anyway. So here is a problem. I am very comfortable in standard King's Indian defense. I know how to play it. I know how to do it. This is, yes, Borovnica, it's Haris Djinovic. Yeah. Anyway, why not? I honestly don't know how to play against Semish. And whichever variation I decide to play, and I tried playing e5 here, I tried playing, which was actually what was played here. I tried playing c5. I tried various plans and variations, and in every which way I played against Samish, I ended up being in a very uncomfortable positions. Anyway. So, why not Borovnica? Of course. I actually like Haris. It's from way back when. From when I was young. Haha. Anyway. So Haris Djinovic is a Bosnian slash Yugoslav singer that was very popular when I was a little bit younger. Anyway, ha ha ha. So don't worry, guys. We're gonna switch to the standard rock and roll very shortly. But I think one song is good enough. So I don't know how to play against this thing, because all the normal plans I use when I'm playing King's Indian Defense don't work because, hey Ulan, thank you for the song request. I don't know how to play it. And it's very frustrating with me because I have figured out, I'm usually booked up and I'm able to, oh, thanks, Danny. That's very flattering and sadly not true. I will, when I was young, we were talking about before more of the people in this chat were born. Unfortunately, that happens to me a lot. We were talking about 25, 30 years ago. Oh, thank you, Smash Time Fools. Anyway, so I actually am booked up. And the booked up variation here that I'm playing is Castle. Bishop e3 is a standard move, e5, which some consider not the best move, but I'm actually have this variation prepared. And this is all book theory. And as I said, I'm very frustrated when I play against the. All right, so we're gonna now play. Thank you. That was Haris Djinovic, and now we're gonna listen to Ulan's request. Okay. Anyway, all right. Oh, Moon is a harsh mistress. Nice. Anyway, so takes on d4, takes on d4, knight c6, which is in other words, I have played 9 moves. And all the 9 moves up to this point have been either the, Ben Feingold would say never play f3. Yeah, and Ben is usually right, but not here, unfortunately. So Queen d2, best move, Knight d4, which is incidentally a theory recommendation. And and whether knight d4 or rook e8, it really doesn't matter. It's the same position. And for the record, I normally don't look at engine evaluations when I'm playing King's Indian Defense, because black is always losing according to this. Hey, Aaron Gould, thank you for joining us. I'm showing a game I lost against Daniel Roditsky less than 24 hours ago. And the reason I'm showing is, I am, okay, this is incidentally also a book recommendation. And in retrospect, this plan with b6 and bishop b7 is a little bit on the slow side. But again, I'm following some sort of theory. Castle is best, a5 is, some attempt and counterattack. And here is a problem. All right, and here is why I'm showing you guys this game, and I don't want to complain too much, but here is a game in which I'm basically telling Danya, come and mate me. Okay, in other words, I have, and I'm gonna play the next move is h5, which is the best move in the position according to any engine. And I'm familiar with this position, and this is the position that I was... Hey, John Luna, yes, I finally got added to it. I was under the impression it was automatic. It actually... Daniel loves this game because he likes to start playing against King Indian Defense. So he's learning how to do that. The problem here is that I'm basically telling Danya, come and mate me. And the problem here is that this is one of those positions in which white attack plays itself. And it's not immediately losing, but the path to proper defense is very narrow, and it needs to be very precise. In other words, by playing this variation, and this happens to me in Samish way too often. And I'm actually gonna have another you know I'm gonna have another stream, and I'm gonna actually discuss how to beat Samish, and as soon as I figure it out, to be quite frank with you guys. Anyway, oh yes, I'm gonna do it at the next time. Alexandra Kostyniuk is actually streaming with Maria, which is gonna actually happen in about a week. So yes, I'm gonna have to do it in front of my impersonation of Alexandra will have to happen in front of Alexandra. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So the problem here is I played all the book moves and book recommendations, and I ended up in a position in which it's probably reasonably defensible. And Danya actually made a couple of errors that made this position playable, but the position requires utmost precision. As Daniel said, it's a very dangerous game for black to play. And, all right, so I played h5, g4, which is actually one significant inaccuracy that Danya made. Normally, he was supposed to play bishop e2 before this, which, anyway, there's no better option to take. h5 is actually not the most precise move, but for intents and purposes, next couple of moves are best moves in the position. And here is the critical position of this game. Evaluation actually here favors white a little bit. Yes, you have queen a4 and knight d5 following, but it won't even reach there. And here is an interesting situation. This is the critical position. This knight here is kind of blocking the h file, and the best thing for black to do is to proceed with the sequences of exchanges. In other words, you have this bishop, you have this bishop, and then you can also have a potential, what do you do with this particular knight, and so on and so forth. What I did, and that's the only really meaningful error or blunder that I made of this game, I actually transposed the moves. In other words, and this is what's interesting about this position in a bit, this is why this opening is so frustrating for me. Number one move is bishop e2, which is, and it will actually drop if we increase the drop depth to a playable thing. It will be 0.67 if we'll wait for Stockfish to catch up. So that's number one option. Number two option is the one that I actually played. It's a bishop d4, and that's losing. So there is, and if we were to look into position here, you will discover that, starting about here after g4, for black to hold this position, you need to find a very strong sequence of best moves that lasts about 5 moves. And, I played 4 of them. I messed up the 5th one. Joe, that's a very good question. GMs are professionals, and they spend lots of time working on their chess. Not all GMs know all the theory. I know that for a fact. There was plenty of occasions when I ask a GM what he thinks about particular variation, but they're not familiar with it. but they know the ideas of individual openings, and their ability to memorize is probably beyond belief for mere mortals. So the answer here is, do they have all theory memorized? No, but they have enough of it memorized that it's very hard to catch them out of theory. So anyway. So Ulon, I think that was your song. Let me make sure that that's actually the case. Yeah, it was. So we're gonna actually go back to our rock and roll stuff. Anyway, so here, and I basically caught 4 out of 5 in the sequence, and then messed this up. Bishop d4 is a blunder that loses the game. Bishop e2, and here this is, bishop e2, which I'm actually gonna play briefly for you guys. This is what I love about this position. All right, guys, take a look at this. This is computer recommendation that it considers, hey Sirhan87, that it considers the best move for white. Please notice how this evaluations yo-yo as calculation go. So yes, this is actually the best option for black. Would I want to play this as black? Honestly, this is scary. And notice that now after the best move, all of a sudden knight g3, and it's plus 565. And incidentally, if we put this in lila, or increase this depth to, and I'm gonna do it for you guys, to maximum depth, this evaluation is gonna drop. And this is the reason I'm showing you this game. I don't know where I lost this game. I think I know where I lost it. But, I obviously messed up in this position. That's definitely true. I played bishop d4 after bishop e2. I should have exchanged with t on d4. But after playing 5 out of 5 best computer moves, I found myself in a defending situation in which I have no defense. Okay. And please just look at this evaluation, and I'm gonna, and if you put Lila versus Stockfish, it goes literally all over the place. Yeah, true. I mean, I obviously lost when I decided to challenge Danya, but this is just the latest example of me having trouble in Semish. I think Semish variation against King Indies is my worst opening in my repertoire, because somehow whatever I do, I end up in an uncomfortable situation. And for the record, Hazelot, I've won, I think, 3 games against Danya over the however many we played. So, it's not without chances. But I am not, So anyway, I'm gonna show you the rest of the game, because here. And here is what I was hoping for, or counting for, or why I miscalculated. I was assuming that he's gonna play queen c3. And after you play queen c3, first I neglected that I have a queen g5 check, but, and I'm kind of a little bit low on time and so on. I was assuming that some sort of defense here after dc3, I can maybe play this and save the game, but I actually don't have time to do it. And and then maybe play queen f4, exchange queens, and this is a holdable position. And mind you, black actually has 2 pawns, and this pawn structure here that white has is not very good for white. So if we were to exchange all the pieces, black is winning this position. But I don't have the time, and the mating threats are literally all over the place. And I'm going to go back to the game continuation. So after take on c3, bc3, my best bet, and that I actually spent some significant amount of time calculating, was to basically play king g7 and part with this knight. I don't have time to move to part with this knight, because if I move knight to f6, queen h2 is, here is a very simple variation. I'm immediately mated. If I try to play queen f6, I am, he takes bishop g1, and I have to give up the queen. So, hey, thank you Hedgehog 1963. Thank you for joining us. Good night. I understand this is not exactly the most EU-friendly stream. Unfortunately, my schedule forces me to do it at this time. So, thank you. Anyway, so after this, I'm sacrificing the knight to consolidate the position. So the mating threats are gone, but white has a bishop to the good. But very frankly, when you look at this pawn structure and the fact that black has, 2 extra pawns, it's not entirely without chances. So, anyway, the rest of the game is obviously when you play against Danya or any strong grandmaster, your chances are not there. I also managed to make one more mistake here. This was actually a really bad move, queen d4. I should have played queen e5 and not allow him to straighten his pawns. And in the end, I ended up in endgame. That really is rather clearly lost for black. Which DVD's method? I actually have quite a lot of chessable courses, so if it's Danya, yes, I would buy it. And hey, Julian, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the raid. Welcomes, raiders. I'm showing the games, my best losses series. This is a game I lost against Danya only yesterday. I have quite a lot of courses on Chessable, so I don't really know which method this is, but yes, I do own quite a lot of courses. So, yeah, and so welcome, raiders. Hey, worship, hello, legend. I'm not gonna agree. You are a very strong player. I've seen you play, so no. Kevin, thank you for the raid. It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I'm showing a game that I lost against Danya, and this is basically the tail end of this game. John Luna, it really depends. It's very hard for me to answer that question for the very simple reason that if those DVDs work for you and you're able to take advantage of them, then that's definitely worth it. If hey Julian, thank you for joining us, and I just realized that I never got you a diamond, so let me fix that. and it's good to see you. So, this game lasted a few more moves, and I made a couple of more blunders, but it really doesn't matter because, very honestly, this position, playing this position against Danya is basically useless. Time was really not a factor. The game was lost bluntly, when I made this misplay. Oh, Dirky has discovered Russian roulette. So, thank you, Julian, for the sub. That's very greatly appreciated. And hello, Chess Melissa. It's good to see you. And here is the most beautiful thing. We're actually approaching very close to 200 subs, which is really, 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 really nice and very great support. Thank you guys for that. But that's not why I'm showing you this game. Or even to show you guys that, and I'm gonna, thank you, Joe Luna, thank you for the sub, that's very good, I appreciate it. Look at this accuracy, Jesus, this is why I'm showing you this game. Danya basically, hey, thank you, Chess Player Pro, for the follow, that's very greatly appreciated. Danya didn't break a sweat playing this game, and normally he's not gonna break a sweat playing this when he plays against in a simul against people like myself. But I kind of felt very bluntly that I played reasonable theory, but I felt like I didn't have a chance in this game. That this game was without any counter chances, without any counter play that required a very precise defense to equalize, and this happens. I'm showing Danya's game because this happened yesterday, so it was very fresh, yeah, exactly, Chess Melissa. I'm reporting Danya as an engine user, sure. And, honestly, I'm pretty close to that too. Yeah, exactly. You're playing 96% accuracy and I'm losing. But it's not that, I have lost quite a few games against Alexander Bottas, against Aman, against lots of people who came against Samish variation of King's Indian, and I always felt like this. In other words, that I am completely out of my comfort zone. So I'm here about to announce that my next road to 2000 stream, which I'm going to announce one of these days, when I figure out is going to be, thank you, Ashwini, it's good to see you, it's going to be how to beat Samish, because I'm frankly quite frustrated with this. I know I don't expect to win a game against Danya ever, and thank you, Alvinello, too, for the follow. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you. But I expect to at least have some counterplay or some chances, and I didn't have it in this game. The closest I came to attack was this A5, and this A5 move, and that didn't go very far. So anyway, so what is the drawback for what are the conclusions for this game? Well, it doesn't help you if you're at 95.9 accuracy and completely booked up if your opponent plays 99.3. Okay, but I need to find a solution for Samish, and I'm actually very confident that I'll be able to find it because, very frankly, Worship, if I were to announce my retirement from chess every time I felt a throwing chessboard out of the window, that would have been a routine occurrence on more than one day, my friend. So no, no, I'm not doing that. Very frankly, I felt about like this against Niner variation, and then I found a way how to play it to the engine it. I'm gonna find a way how to deal with it, and I'm gonna have a stream about it, and I'll let you guys know. Yeah, hi, hello Perpetual. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Thank you for getting up so early. I know it's very early for you. Yeah, and I'm not 2495 apart from my dreams, and I think I've announced this several times. That belongs like with having a date with Natasha Kinski and becoming a pilot. So it's not gonna happen. So anyway, so that's basically it. The point here is, watch for in the first game against Hikaru. It was basically no need to oversimplify positions that don't need to be oversimplified, and watch for that bias. No need to complicate if it doesn't need to be complicated. And here is basically I have an opening problem that I need to have resolved. And that's basically it, in terms of what I was hoping to share with you guys tonight. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you again, Julian, for the raid. And I'm gonna have my now standard Wednesday stream with Anna Rudolph at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. That's 5 p.m. Eastern time in the United States, New York time. I have no idea what Anna is going to throw at me, but I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm very much looking forward to figuring out the ways how to play against Samish. And Danya, being a good gentleman, that he actually recommended a variation that I'm going to share with you guys. In other words, if you're playing this, don't take on d4, play something along the lines of c6, and then with the idea of knight on d7, and then maybe potentially b5, which already appears to be, anyway. All right, so I'm gonna play the song that Daniel requested, and oh, that's nice. It's Bob Marley tribute. Thank you, Daniel. Anyway, so that's basically what I wanted to show tonight. Thank you everybody for coming, and thank you always. Have a good night. It was a long holiday today. For the long weekend, it's a Memorial Day weekend, so today was a holiday. We had a 3-day weekend, which is fine. Thank you all for coming. So whom should we raid? I think, I know it's gonna come across as silly, but I owe Botas Live a raid from last time. They were very kind enough to send us a raid, and yes, I am fully committed to oh, thank you, Kevin, for giving a tier 1 sub to Chess Melissa. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And so we're gonna raid Botas Live, and I'm gonna have actually about maybe 6 or 8 hats for you guys to choose, and for certain number of points we're gonna be able to we're gonna be able to have you put them on my head. So I think that actually is a great idea. Thank you guys. Thank you again. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for all your support. And I am sending you to the Botas Live. Good night.